Okay, so Zealous. I was excited about, I love the Zealous, and I've been working with this for a while, certainly during 2020, after I had my COVID experience. Zealous is something that really came in quite center stage for me to work with. And didn't realize that it was actually going to be chosen as one of the pearls of wisdom, and that too quite a milestone one, right? 50th pearl of wisdom. So Zealous, it's passionate, it's devout, it's fervent. That's what zealous actually means. And we are going to talk about the 7 activations that the vibe of zealous invokes. The nature of these activations, the nature of any activation actually, when you engage with that activation, is that it is regenerative. So it is very much in line with the new world, because it is a switch from sustainable to regenerative. So let's look at what are these activations. And these activations are invoked in the vibe of zealous for us as humans. The rest of the living beings already have all of these activated. And actually we do too, because we are also living beings. And as you've heard me say time and time again, as humans, our innate vibration is love, which is a naturally amplifying frequency. So we have all of these already there within us. They're not necessarily activated. What activates them naturally is when you step into your truth. So therefore, when it comes to trees and other living beings, these activations are already active. With us, we have it, but they're inactive, dormant. So by choosing to be zealous, where you consciously make that choice of being in this vibe, a state in which you feel radiant, fervent, passionate, devoutly passionate even, about whatever it is that you stand for. You can choose that. And I say to people, don't get over intellectual or over analytical about what do I stand for. You can take on, be zealous by just taking a stand for aliveness, which is very personal to you. If you know your innate vibration, you know your source mastery, then okay, you can add that very specific flavor to being devoutly passionate about that. So the first activation, you would expect it. It's quite, just by the nature of the word, this first activation is expected, is zeal. It activates zeal. What is zeal? It's like you feel that's fabulous energy or enthusiasm to pursue a cause. So if you're feeling out and down and weighed down by all of this talk that is going on right now, third wave and all of that, and there are other things that happen from time to time, step into the vibe of zealous and engage with the first activation, zeal. You feel it within you. To me, it's like something that just punches in a loving sort of way in my solar plexus area, and it pops open, like fear is released, and I'm have this great energy and enthusiasm to pursue a cause. And your cause could be aliveness, or it could be whatever it is that you choose as your cause. The key thing is, it's that journey to the cause that you get enthusiastic about. And you get on track to pursue it. So, when we take on these pearls of wisdom, what helps is if we start engaging with our own lay of the land, getting to know ourselves better and better. What is it that I can, that I can call as my cause? And remember, you can have this big, grandiose cause. Like I have it, that humans and humanity expect and accept miracles as their norm. And it occurs for them with ease, joy, and grace. I have that. And to me, when I began with it, it was so inaccessible. But I felt it with all my being that that's what I'm here to cause and make happen. So I took it on. My journey to getting there, and it is still work in progress, there were lots of little mini things that required to be accomplished, including my own upleveling, my own upliftment, my own ability to regenerate myself in any situations, in any circumstance. So working with the zealous vibe and taking on the first pearl of wisdom, zeal, as an activation, I started, yes, sure enough, there was the big overarching one. I started applying it even to the work in progress, the mini milestones. Knowing that this is on the way to my big cause. So even if you don't have to wait till one day, someday in the future, you will have what your cause is. The fact that you have life, which is a state in which an organism is breathing and you are breathing, you have life, you have that state. Its only purpose is to come alive. You can take on the cause of aliveness, your aliveness. And remember, aliveness is always just you. We may give our power to other things outside of us, that they make us alive. Well, but there are others, they do nothing to. So just remember, aliveness is a personal choice. You can experience aliveness at any time. It's up to you, you choose. So the way you work with this pearl of wisdom is you step into the vibe of zealous. Be zealous. Radiant, devoutly passionate. And you may have nothing to, like a hook to hang that passion on. You're just in that space. And, even if you just choose to be zealous, a state in which I'm experiencing myself as radiant and devoutly passionate, being human, for me, that's what I do. That's how I define it. In my world, when you choose something as a B word, you always define what that is, what state it is. So when I choose that be zealous is a state in which I'm feeling radiant and devoutly passionate about being human. Human, the innate vibration of being human is love. And love is an amplifying frequency. I become radiant, devoutly passionate, being love. And how cool is that? That's pretty amazing in itself. And how cool is that it actually activates these 7 things. And they get invoked in us. So automatically, I go into a space with great energy and enthusiasm to pursue my cause. And that in itself, gets the bandwagon, my bandwagon rolling. This is one of those amazing vibes. Zealous is one of those amazing vibes. By you simply choosing to be zealous, you overcome And you switch that inertia just by choosing to be. The inertia is shifted. You become radiantly passionate about, or devoutly passionate about whatever it is that you declare you are. Or you just simply being radiant and devoutly passionate, ready to apply it to whatever. Inertia has shifted. Activations begin. Zeal's the first one that kicks in. And you can apply your conscious awareness to that. So have a go with this. Have a go with the working with the activation of zeal, applying it to aliveness. Literally, by the end of the day, you will see such a marked difference in your own vibrational frequency. And if you actually do apply it to a cause, and that cause could be aliveness all day, aliveness in the moment today, whatever you choose, you will feel that exuberance returning. Now, when something is activated, each activation invokes a whole host of vibrational and energetic shifts within us. So when I take on, okay, I'm going to work with zeal today and experience that activation, I become consciously aware of what are the things that are being invoked within me. This reconnection to my cause, a curiousness about when that cause is being realized, what does that even look like? What does that feel like? What evidence do I see that this is actually happening? It's not passive. An activation is active. Just by the nature of the word, it's active. And it'll take a lot of effort for you to sit back and passively observe. There is observation, there is passive observation, there's active observation. Activation combined with active observation really gets you to grasp the nuances. And then you can leverage those nuances. An activation that Zealous enables is automatically regenerative. You spend a minute with great energy and enthusiasm pursuing a cause. Let's say it's a cause of aliveness. It regenerates. The next moment, that energy and enthusiasm multiplies even more. And you start automatically noticing, what are the things that actually make me come alive? I invite everyone to just take on focusing on aliveness, applying the zeal activation to it. Get to know you. Get to know that which turns you on. And really, when you're doing this, you start becoming into you. And how wonderful it is when you have someone out there into you. And here you are being into you. The most important person in your life. And you're coming alive as well. It's like a whole variety of, multiplier effects that automatically kicks in. It truly is go forth and multiply. And like Captain Janeway in Voyager, whose phrase it is, go forth and multiply, you just can take on anything. And your zeal will not be impacted. It will literally regenerate itself. This activation, the first one, we're only at the first one. I should keep track of time. it literally, you land up in a space of so many nuances, and you experience this like bubbles of zeal that are, invigorating, with great enthusiasm at a cellular level, that you can stand and be with the toughest of situations. You can actually be in empathy and not be consumed by sympathy. You can actually be present in your presence, honoring and acknowledging the other person's presence when they are going through a tough time themselves. And with great respect and enthusiasm for aliveness, you're able to complete the conversation and move on with the other person feeling completely received, heard, and seen for whatever it is that they may be going through. And allowing a coexistence to occur of zeal with their sorrow and grief. That in itself creates a little door opening for them to step out of getting consumed themselves. This pearl of wisdom, it's like the 50 would be like a golden jubilee type thing, right? It truly has the brilliance and the, incontaminable qualities of gold. There are only a few things that can contaminate it. Very few things that can contaminate gold. It is like that. Because it is soft, it is gentle, it's not beat your chest, I feel ecstatic. It's very interesting. It's not exciting, it is enthusiasm in generating. It's igniting. It's very soft, gentle, and yet very much there. The activation invokes zeal, which in turn further accentuates your experience of being in this zealous vibe. The second activation that is enabled by the zealous vibe is eager. What is eager, I thought? Eager is being keenly interested. Remember those times when you were keenly interested in something, right? Like literally, it is like being truly, madly, deeply in love. Unstoppable. Nothing's a problem. It's like everything generates more curiosity. It's like this very special, engine fuel that sparks your spark plugs in a wonderful frictionless way. Sounds so weird, but spark by itself is friction. But then it's just like it sparks you and you're off. It feels frictionless. And it's almost like, bring it on. I'm ready to see what else is going to show up. And you remember those times when nothing could interest you, couldn't be bothered. And really in those times, and they can happen. They happen. The great thing about this particular pearl of wisdom is you don't have to do anything. Don't have to do anything. You just be zealous. Define what that state is. Activations happen doing flows. And all you do is focus your attention on one activation at a time, and something shifts in your world. And it's automatically regenerative. And then you can actually engage more consciously with the doing part. And then you become keenly interested, in what else is coming up? How am I reacting to it? I see when I talk about my grandkids a lot, but I'm seeing this so much in a child, especially the newborn one, because I've had a chance to observe him with the lens of these pearls of wisdom. So he's learned to sit up by himself. He started crawling. And it takes a lot of effort. Oh my God, this crawling, takes a lot of effort. And he is so keenly interested in this new world he's uncovering that even we can't see under the sofas and stuff. That he's crawling with this keen interest in a particular direction which we cannot see. What is he getting attracted to in a beige sofa? It wasn't the sofa, it's what was underneath it that he was keenly interested in. With that keen interest, and this is the excitement that I have about baby steps. That's why I say, go on, take a baby step. Because a baby step immediately puts you in that state of eagerness. That is activated by choosing to be jealous, be zealous. Now, I just love to, get a remembrance back of various things, and I'm all about full spectrum living. So I go into, if I'm going to be keenly interested in the physical area of my world, what are the things I would want to be keenly interested in? I don't have to get going and do anything. Once I've just unlocked it, it's sparked, I go into this keenly interested vibe. I know my being will pick up the one that's most required at that particular point in time. And I will examine it with keen interest. This piece, this second one, has enabled me to live this life as an actively engaged observer. And all this body of wisdom that I'm sharing with you has come as a result of that. Because what that does, when you become an actively engaged observer, you start allowing, because you see there is so much there. Just through observation. And you can then, Catherine, you've heard me say, like in the Federation, our business collective, I just say, I'll get you to focus on the 2%. That'll make 98% difference. I've learned to focus on the 0.0001% now. That I'm keenly interested in, not interested in anything else. And that just activates everything. Well, because I have actually done that work of planting all of these in my field. So it becomes like a domino. I just choose one that feels the most yummy and juicy at that time. And the domino takes off. We did, there was several of you here who were with me when I was doing the World Dignity Forum, and we did a seeding ceremony of the World Dignity Forum. And it was led by amazing Indigenous elders from around the world. And that seeding ceremony literally brought in all of their different rituals and prayers and invocations and activations. And it's like there was nothing that could stop dignity from returning to humans as a point of awareness. It's never lost. It's just that we get disconnected from it. And 2020 and 2021 panned out to give more space to humans to, engage with the worthiness of themselves, with things that they value. It's all a part of the expression of dignity. I'm bringing this up because I actually, as the ceremonies were going on, I saw these multiple dominoes just literally taking off, and one after the other, like pathways being opened up and created, huge barriers and obstacles just dropping away. That came from activations. And I became keenly interested in some of the particular areas that I wanted to see shift in the world. They were the ones that would deplete our world of dignity. And I didn't know then, but I had invoked these different activations and became keenly interested. What I'm doing now, what emerged from there happened as a result of this. And we all came together, and Sunny, you were definitely a very active part of that. Linda, you were too. You know, we literally were radiant and devoutly passionate about dignity. And literally, as I'm talking through these activations, you will feel how they just played out and continue to do so in a regenerative way. We just needed to seed it in the zealous vibe. So with that understanding, imagine what you can cause and make happen. You know, Sarah, the stand that you are for agriculture, for poverty, for, you know, really bringing in a whole variety of technological developments to transform how food is grown and served and consumed. Activate, be in the zealous vibe as you're initiating the next aspect of your project. All of these activations are available to you as a gift. Then relax your mind and allow yourself to generate what you are to apply the eager activation to. The third one is a glow. I didn't even know it was a word. It is a word. You know, a glow means glowing with warmth and excitement. You know, how wonderful is that? We were just talking earlier, Catherine and I, and she wants me to be at the kickstart of a particular gathering of a new type of community that has emerged, led by one of our miracle journeyers, and it happens to be at 1:30 in the morning, my time, in India. And she was not certain whether I would want to do that. You know, and it's so in line with what I stand for. You know, the whole creation, the birthing of this has emerged from, you know, people that are putting it together, expecting and accepting miracles as their norm. So I'm aglow, glowing with warmth and excitement. 1:30, it's 1:30. And it's my choice, really. But you can imagine so how do you work with things like this, right? In a regenerative way. The clearer you become, always use the full spectrum landscape: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental. If I'm to be glowing with warmth and excitement, where am I going to direct this energy to? Let's really do a deep dive on the physical part of my life for now. Let's look at the mental side. You know, use the power and the technology of acknowledgement. By making your choices and acknowledging them, you've already given your instructions, not just to yourselves, to your mind, to your intellect, to the universe also. And automatically, when you choose something specific and you say, right, I am going to direct my aglow activation to this, you enjoy the journey from that moment of choice. And you enjoy that journey feeling whole and complete. So you can take disappointments, you can experience failures and not get consumed by them. See them as curious, insightful happenings, distill the nuggets, and keep flowing forward, glowing with warmth and excitement. What does that do to the magnetic effect that you have on others? They also experience a glowing with warmth and excitement. They don't become an energy suck. They start glowing themselves. It's a little bit like when you are aglow, you are illuminated. You are illuminated, that means you are lit up. Where there is light, there can be no darkness. In dark, I mean, I'm right now at this place which is outside of Pune. And at night, it is pitch dark right now, completely dark, completely silent. And even that little tiny little green dot of my computer feels like there's a lot of light in the room. I'm present to this almost every day. This knowing that even a tiny sliver of light means there is no darkness. A glow is a full spectrum and multiple spectrums of light. Your light of glowing with warmth and excitement. So you can imagine what impact that has on everybody around you when you are aglow. It is an automatic activation when you choose to be zealous. Radiant and passionately devout, devoutly passionate. Either way. The fourth activation is laughter. There's a smile and there's a laugh. Laughter to me is like a belly laugh. It's a heartfelt laughter. And it just starts to flow. It gets activated when you choose to be zealous. I thought this was so cool. And if you want, you can spark it by, just doing laughing yoga a little bit. But there's so much wonderful stuff on YouTube if you wish to use some artificial stimulants for laughter that can make you laugh. But I find, doing a lay of the land examination of my own life, great. So I've now activated laughter. I'm now looking at what all has occurred in my life that makes me laugh. And it's amazing how entertaining and how laughter-provoking our own lives are. To such an extent that even some of the saddest situations, now when I observe it from this perspective of how I spent years wallowing in that sadness, makes me laugh. I don't disrespect, the cause of sadness at that time. I honor it. And I allow myself to experience the humor in that situation also. I think this will be a really great retreat, Catherine, the Zealous retreat. The laughter day would be completely, utterly hilarious. With laughter, I decided to have a lot of fun, because it was so wonderful. I thought, okay, I'm going to do what I do sometimes when I'm doing some deep dive examination or self-introspection. And I just decided to go, I went a year at a time. So in the last 12 months, what has occurred that made me laugh? So when I ask you to do things like this, go back, and really ask, what has occurred? Getting the benefit of hindsight. What I'm really doing is anchoring it and grounding it as real, so that your intellect and your mind completely know that you're not somewhere out there in cuckoo land. It's so anchored in reality, that your life is so rich in so many incidents and situations that provoke laughter, like belly laugh, unbridled laughter. And the universe gets the cue and it starts to multiply that experience that gives you that laughter even more. And it's anchored in reality. What we're doing with each one of these, when I get you to go back, and look at what has occurred in your life, not somebody else's life, you're learning to take your power back, recognizing that it is up to you. You are the one who has the control. You're the one that has actually even created the engine that's going to run your car that you are going to drive. And you can take it in whatever direction. And you have more than enough experience of bringing in this joy in your life. And you don't have to tap into anyone else. Nothing out there needs to be present for you to experience being zealous, for you to experience joy, for you to experience your own prowess in turning around a catastrophe into something that actually is uplifting. So the more you do these kind of lay of the land examinations, going back, anchored in real situations, every cell in your being, has the remembrance completely activated. And you're ready to receive even more. What happens is, at a conscious level, lack disappears. And truly, as Catherine uses this word, abundance is anchored. It's awesome. When you experience this scale of abundance in anything that you choose to examine that acutely. And for me, you're actually, what you're doing is you're becoming this actively engaged observer. That automatically takes away depleting low vibe habits of validation, entitlement. They just simply start to disappear because you're so actively engaged. So with laughter, go in, create your treasure trove of laughter. I mean, literally, I feel, and this is something that has occurred in what Catherine and I have been doing over the last, 18 months or so, every Friday, with all the different programs and the pearls of wisdom that we've been doing for a while. You're creating your own cave of treasures and wonders that is filled with treasures that are anchored in the reality of your life, your experiences of coming alive. So it's like you can, you've got more than enough in there already. You can, if you want, start to, arrange them in a certain way. So in my cave of wonders, I have a treasure. It used to be a treasure trove, but there's so much in it now. Can't just be a trove anymore. It's a whole section of laughter. And I literally feel sometimes, my son and I do this a lot. And my daughter-in-law has taken all these photos and videos of us just being hysterically laughing away. We just have to literally say one word or something. And I remember there used to be this joke about, a summit of comedians, and everybody knew everybody's jokes so well that all they had to do was say a number and everybody would start laughing. They didn't even have to say the joke. I feel like that with my son sometimes. We just have to say one or two words and that whole scene comes right in and we can't stop laughing. Imagine being able to do that, sometimes with yourself, sometimes with your friends. I mean, this is a great family that we have. We could actually have a laughter summit ourselves, sharing some craziness. But start building your laughter treasure trove. Because it is activated. It is invoked already. The moment you choose to be zealous. The fifth one, I mean, I just love it. I love this one. It truly is the golden jubilee celebration of our pearls of wisdom. This one is ornate. It activates the vibe of ornate. The vibe of ornate is, it's a state that feels elaborate, highly decorated, and embellished. So if you were to look at you, really focus in on you, and you were to choose what aspects of you you would like to, decorate and embellish, what would they be? And do so elaborately. What would you choose? It's difficult to begin with this, but number 5 activation, after you've allowed yourself to experience the first 4, you will be surprised at how much there is, how many things you will find within you. I mean, I live in Dubai. It's the way the whole place is built is so much is very ornate. And just gets better and better and better. It just in terms of external physical presence and, what it looks like, what it invokes within you. Just imagine, just think the time that you've seen something so ornate, it invokes something within you. So if you are doing that to yourself, literally it is dignity accomplished. You are honoring your own worthiness in the most elaborate, highly decorated way, and you're embellishing that worthiness. It begins with you first, doing it for yourself. When you're doing these things, I find that there is this, I'm often asked, oh, you're just going to make us all these show-offs, and you become so humbled that you actually start observing this ornateness in others. But that's because you're completely confident in you. You become super generous with embellishing qualities of another that you have noticed and witnessed and experienced. It's not patronizing. It's grounded in real, real substance. Because invoking activation of ornateness invokes a level of nuance. We say things are beautiful, we say things are wow, but when you use the word ornate, you're already engaged in the fineness that exists in those ornate objects. So when you're actually applying it to yourself or to another, there is nothing flippant that comes out of your mouth anymore. It's very grounded in quite an acute understanding of what you are about to acknowledge. I've used this with my three-year-old grandson. They go through different quality of tantrums from the beginner. With us, he began at about 2.5. And, it's different. Now they're much more intellectual. And he's someone who's not afraid to converse with you. But and he says, I am still angry, Mynoo. So do you want me to talk? No, I want to be left alone. Continuing. So I said, okay. And I'm like in his room, I'm observing something that he's drawn or something that he's created as a craft object. And I'm just observing the ornateness of this thing. He's there still angry. And after a while, he then starts to add to the ornateness of what I had shared with him. And because it's not patronizing. If I just said to him, Elio, you're such a good boy, you're so amazing, you're so loving. He's feeling angry right now. He wants to be left alone. It really would not go down well. It'll just exasperate. I use this activation, ornate. It's pretty cool. So it was in his field, in his hearing, and it gave him the space. And then he started explaining to me why he used a certain combination of colors. Because I was just sharing how the nose is normally round and like a blob, and he's made it like a rainbow nose. And I find that very intriguing. And then that was the rainbow nose and all of that sort of stuff really, in this particular incident, he started then explaining to me. But you can imagine, I'm using the example of my grandson, but you can imagine working with this, with somebody else, or even with yourself. The key thing to remember, ornate is beyond beautiful. Ornate is beyond glamorous. Ornate is grounded in observing the fineness of that which you are focused on. I run a business collective, and there are a few people in there that I'm working with because they're at a particular level in their business. And I'm getting them to apply this activation of ornate on their leadership. Really looking at in quite an elaborate way. See, when you elaborately, highly decoratively embellish something, you've got to engage with this thing at a level of detail that you otherwise would not have. And in that examination, many, many things come up which are not at all ornate, which are in fact plain ugly. But you see them and don't beat yourself up about it. You just can take action about it. And that's the quality of these pearls of wisdom. Each one of the 7 in every pearl, when you engage with it at that level of detail, sure enough, it has this powerful, uplifting, positive impact. And it nourishes you and nurtures you in such a way that you can take that which is not so great, that also surfaces, and deal with it. Ornate examination does that. Now, when you choose to be zealous, ornate is activated automatically. And then when you go into that activation and you start engaging with it in more detail, you already have honored yourself for having something that is ornate, that you are ready to decorate and embellish. Talk about self-worth and self-confidence or self-doubt. You know, self-doubt disappears and you've just honored yourself in the most amazing way. It's a very powerful, very nuanced activation. Practice it on yourself first. It's the toughest. Once you practice it on yourself, you actually become very powerful in practicing it with others. And you will be blown away by the impact it has. It's created, for me, it's made me like this curious, childlike genius that's been invoked, because I'm just so curious about everyone. If I have so many things that fall in this realm of ornateness, ornate is always elaborate. So does everyone else. It's just a matter of me finding what that is. Even if they don't, I still can. And only because I have done this work on myself. When you go and elaboratively examine that which you are going to identify within you that is ornate and decorate it and embellish it, it's a very different level of nuanced examination of you. You own all of you. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful. And you're standing in the vibe of zealous. Radiant, passionate, devout about your aliveness. The sixth activation is unlimited. It activates unlimited. So even if you just take unlimited, the innate vibe of unlimited is limitless. You feel limitless. You feel unencumbered. And by the time you get to this point, you know, you're actually not going to engage in reckless behavior. You're in a very different vibration. So you can very safely be allowed to invoke and ride that unlimited, limitless bicycle, if you like, and literally go forth and multiply your limitlessness. But you also engage with the limitlessness of this limitless universe. You start connecting with the limitless abundance that exists on this planet already. And if you've been working through these different pearls of wisdoms, you already have amassed treasures and treasures and treasures, which also are unlimited. If you've only worked with the zealous vibe, you're present to the limitlessness of all that you can be radiant and passionately devout about. You know that aliveness is unlimited. You can generate an unlimited level of life force within you. When you anchor yourself with this activation, being human, you are present to the limitlessness of this vibration of being love, standing in love. It's quite phenomenal. Seventh activation is sumptuous. Sumptuousness gets activated in the vibe of zealous. And it invokes this, that which is magnificent, that's luxurious, that's opulent, in any environment that you may be in. And sure enough, where I live in Dubai, and in Dubai itself, it's in your face. Magnificent, luxurious, opulent, outside of me. But this thing does it within you. The way I look at it, okay, I'm there and I have all of this stuff going on outside of me. Nothing can be in my field that's not already there within me. You know? So go on this examination of you, your life, all that has occurred. And look at last 5 years, last 10 years, last 15 years. What was magnificent, luxurious, and opulent that you have experienced? It's big things, small things, inside of you, outside of you. The main reason, I mean, when you do an examination like this, often it is about things outside of you. But just know nothing can exist in your field that is not already there within you. And in no time at all, you will start noticing that which is magnificent about you, that which you already have, that feels so luxurious, and the opulence that is already anchored in your reality. Those are the 7 activations in the realm of being zealous. I can't find Catherine. So she's probably just dropped off at the last minute. She'll log in again. But yes, work with them. Work with each one of these. You know, you can give yourself an hour, you can give yourself a day, you can give yourself a week. Whatever, you know. Just this pearl of wisdom alone creates a world that delivers to everyone by you focusing on you. It is step in before you step out. With that, I complete our pearl of wisdom. Thank you. Thank you.